Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'll be discussing the topic of how alcoholism is a disease. So how one can define alcoholism, it can definitely be mistaken as a lifestyle choice that people use to escape from reality, whereas it's just much more than that. So in order to completely understand what alcoholism is, you'll have to define it as a disease, and then we'll go over, how treatment goes about as well as how one obtains it. And so, as Cynthia Mascott discusses on October 8th, 2018, in her online article, An Introduction to Alcoholism, she defines alcoholism as an illness that consists of persistent and excessive drinking of alcohol, and then to where it becomes a dependence for the person to function mentally and physically. And alcoholism is just not defined as being drunk or having a drinking problem. It's where the person becomes mentally and physically dependent on it, where they cannot function correctly without it. And then, as written in an online article by a professor at George Mason University, who was remained unnamed, as well as the published date, but on March 19th, 2019, I did my research and read over that alcoholism has been related to diabetes, whereas the signs and the symptoms. And so, signs and symptoms of alcoholism can definitely include vomiting, weight loss, and then later on with issues with the heart, the pancreas, the liver, the brain, and the immune system. And so now that we've kind of gone over how alcoholism can be defined as a diagnosable disease, we'll go more into how one can obtain it. So as Cynthia Mascott notes in her online article, An Introduction to Alcoholism on October 8th, 2018, she goes into the stages of how one can obtain it through the environment. And so your first stage is going to be the social drinker, where one can manage it correctly without it being a problem. And then going into the early stage, where they can start sneaking drinks and all that. And then the middle stage, where they kind of start denying that they have a problem with alcohol. And then the last stage, where they finally accept that they have a problem with alcohol, and it's becoming physically and mentally a dependence for them. And so then, as well as the environment, it also is a genetics issue for people. So alcoholism is a hereditary disease where one can obtain it from their parent, whether it's just one or both parents. So as a study from Dr. Carteret from the University of Iowa, who published a study in the Archives of General Psychiatry in December of 1986, he stated that if an alcoholic has a child, and that child's born or raised in a non-alcoholic environment, that child's more than likely to have alcoholism as they get older. And then as they get older, they'll start having the signs of social anxiety and being easily aggravated because of this disease that's, in their DNA and their blood and all that. And so now that we kind of go over how one can obtain it, we'll go more into treatment options. So before deciding whether you need treatment or not for alcoholism, you'll want to ask yourself a few questions. So have you had a strong need or the craving for, alcohol on a consistent basis? Have you continued drinking knowing it's causing a problem with your family and friends? And then asking if you continue to drink, whether, knowing that it's causing you depression, anxiety, and even the cause of self-harm. And if answering yes to any of these, then you'll want to receive treatment immediately. So then, as the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism lists in their online article, they list these questions for us, and then as well as the treatment options, they'll go into more of how behavioral treatment consists of more of the aiming at changing drinking behavior through counseling that are led by health professionals. And then next, your medications, where there are 3 medications: naltrexone, compresate, and disulfiram, that have been proven to help reducing drinking and helping prevent relapse and all that. And then as well as mutual support groups and rehabilitation centers, just showing that mutual support and peer support has been a really good environment for people in order to help, preventing relapse and then getting on the best track for alcoholism. And then so On February 23rd, 2019, in Patty Richards' online Tailboat Recovery article, in 2018, Alcoholism Statistics You Need to Know, it has a profound effect on the human body, especially the brain, the heart, the pancreas, the liver, and the immune system. In spite of all people knowing the negative effects of these, people in America continue to drink. And so, that's just the bigger problem with today and this disease just being as it is, regardless of knowing the negative effects, people are just continue to drink because that's all they know and that's what they crave to do. So as we, covered that it has its back and forth with it, whether being a defined diagnosable, like we can define it as a diagnosable disease, as well as, knowing that now it's an environmental and a genetic thing for people to receive it. And then also now we kind of can know the different options a person can choose from when receiving treatment. And so then a piece of advice I can give to y'all from a person that struggles with a parent who struggles with alcoholism is that the number one thing you can do for them is just showing your support and showing your understanding, because that can go a long way with them knowing that they have someone behind them through all this. It shows that, they have something to continue the treatment for.
Yay!